commenting, but interestingly at page 1170.
Sorry, I had it on the wrong page. Let me just get that. 1169.
Yeah, but let's go to 1170.
1170. Yes.
There's a report there, and it's just for your comment. It says Bevan Loftus, 34, was a tow truck operator with a mean reputation who died with 4 others in what police described as a violent clash on the afternoon of Saturday, 1 April. Would you say the mean reputation allegation, as it were, is also false?
That's false.
Okay.
He didn't have a mean reputation. Yeah, if I can elaborate?
Yes, yes.
The tow truck in the taxi industry is a very tough environment. So what if he was put in a situation, for example, I'll use what I said earlier, hypothetically. If he got to an accident scene, which he only did when he started his business, when at later stages he didn't drive, he never driven a tow truck. He wouldn't go to accident scenes. But in the beginning, to establish the business, he didn't drive, but he used to attend accident scenes. So if he got to a scene, for example, and one of the other operators who came after him were trying to take that tow from one of his drivers, he'd step in and dispute that action. When I say tough, I would say that's the kind of tough I would say that it was.
Mr. Loftus, you without in any way commenting on the circumstances of his death and what you say were the threats that were being made, what you say about the cases that were being pursued against him and the allegations, without me commenting on that, it's fair, is it not fair to say that you were not around the clock with your son, as no parent can ever be around the clock with their child? You have also testified, for example, that because he changed his phone so many times, you didn't even know his telephone number at the time that the police were there, that you really are not in a position to categorically deny the description, for example, that he was mean. He may well have been mean out in the streets, and out of respect for you, would never show that to you. But as a parent who's not around the clock with their son, it seems to me that you may not be in a position to say in every case that allegations are made about him and where he's described in these terms, you may not be in a position to say all of that is lies. You have to make room, at least I think, you would have to make room for, well, I didn't live around the clock with him. So I don't know what exactly he got up to, but the son that I know could not be described as a mean person. Is that not, would that be a fair proposition?
Mr. Loftus, just go back to paragraph 57.
Yes.
The second last sentence where you say Captain Dina Govender and Warrant Officer Naidu. They could not have both said that. Surely it must have been one of them.
Okay, let me clarify that. They did not say it both together. It wasn't a one-off statement that they made. These guys overtalk one another. And they were in an aggressive manner. It was like anger in them. So they both said it, but not at the same time. It's like the one was repeating the other. They said it on numerous occasions. So it wasn't just clearly we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna do that together.
No. Who said to you, you must get Bevan's funeral policy up to date because I'm going to bury him?
They both said it. Dina Governor said it first, and one of the Naidu, he repeated it. Yeah, but as I say, it wasn't said once, it was on a number of occasions. They speak fast and they don't stop talking.
And again, why did you not open a case? Because now they're making a direct threat.
I didn't believe that the case would be accepted and that anything would become of it. because I can say why. I can elaborate because my wife, my daughter-in-law, both daughter-in-laws, went to the police station and they tried to open cases at Brighton Beach. And there was a captain on duty there and he refused to accept the charge. They ended up going to the attorney who took them to IPID. And IPID referred them to Point Road Police Station, and I'm not sure where they eventually opened the case. It was a rigmarole. Nobody wanted to open the case. And this is not an uncommon practice. I've witnessed this before. So people lose interest. So people lose interest and faith in the police.
Just when you say the wife and daughters tried to open a case,
yes.
Was it in relation to the same incident or a different?
No. It's a different incident.
And what was that incident about?
My daughter-in-law, Bevan's wife, she opened a case of theft of items and cash from the house.
But was it against the police? Because
yes, it was against the police. There were cases eventually registered at Brighton Beach. I know my daughter-in-law that runs the crash, her case docket is at IPID. Eckhard, as I said, he was one of the workers of Bevan. He was a driver and a runaround. He opened a case of assault. I was witness to that statement being taken by an IPID policeman in my house. That case is still with IPID. I had opportunity to speak to, in fact, Eckhart phoned me last night. I hadn't spoken to him or seen him in over a year. And I asked him what was the progress on the cases. Nobody ever contacted him.
Okay, and then back to paragraph 57. Do you mention this incident in your affidavit?
Yes, I did.
This specific one?
Yes.
And the threat by
yes.
Captain Gavin?
Yes, I did. Just to go on with that, so to complete that, my wife was eventually called to the police station to depose a statement. And the statement was taken by a should I not say the name? Was taken by a female captain. But I found it strange that while I was sitting there, she wasn't really interested in what my wife was saying. She started taking a statement from me as to what took place. Then I realized what she's doing. Then one of the policemen was in my ear to say, no, she works within the government. I shouldn't be talking to her. Those matters, I think there were 4 cases. Besides the cases at IPID, the cases that were opened at Brighton Beach are filed as undetected and false. Hendrik Nunez's wife also opened a case. I don't know what the charge was. That case is filed as false. Coincidentally, the cases were filed.
Mr. Loftus,
yes.
I'm going to stop you because you have to be careful in this commission when you mention people's names and you make allegations against them. We will have to call them to provide their version. So maybe stick to the question I asked so that we limit ourselves.
Okay, Commissioner.
If you end up mentioning 15 people,
okay, I acknowledge
we'll
that.
have to give them the opportunity to come and give their side of the story. So let's limit ourselves to the question I asked and only the answer to that question.
Point taken.
Thank you.
Was the shooting of Alan supposed to have taken place at Bluff Butchery?
Was the shooting of who, Commissioner? I didn't hear that.
Alan.
No. That was in Durban Central somewhere.
Oh, all right. Where you told was supposed to have been shot at Bluff Butchery?
That Bluff Butchery shooting, the alleged Bluff shooting, was supposed to have been Bevan shooting at the police.
Okay,
yes.
All right. Thank you.
Just to follow up on what Commissioner Kumar. Thank you. Please proceed, Mr. Loftus.
I will deal in more detail with the call below. For present purposes, I submit that it proposes strong evidence that Naicker was behind the 2.5 million hit on Bevan's life. Okay, the incident of the 13th of December 2022. On Tuesday, the 13th of December 2022, I was at my home when I saw a number of policemen at Bevan's house. There must have been approximately 20 to 30 members, some in plain clothes, while others were in uniform, including the dog unit, the NIU, Vehicle Pound Unit, and Metro Police. I went outside and saw members of the police walking up my driveway. I took out my cell phone and started video recording them. There were 2 policemen outside Bevan's gate in civilian clothes. I jumped over the fence into Bevan's yard and approached them at the gate. One of the police officers, who later became known to me as Warrant Officer Clive Naicker, shouted at me not to record anything. I asked for Bevan's cell phone. He asked for Bevan's cell phone number and his whereabouts, which I did not know. He told me to open the remote control gate, which I could not do as I did not have the remote in my possession. He told a white captain from the NIU, which is the National Intervention Unit, to arrest and handcuff me. I was not informed of why I was being arrested. However, that could happen. However, before that could happen, I threw my cell phone to my son Nicholas. One of the policemen grabbed hold of my son Nicholas and choked him and took my cell phone from him. I asked the warrant officer.
Sorry. For clarity, you were not arrested eventually. You were arrested twice on later occasions.
I was arrested then. I think I'm still coming to that. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I asked the warrant officer Snyder why they were looking for Bevan. He told me that they were from the New Hawks anti-gang unit, and that they were there. And that there were 2 attempted murder cases from the police station against him. I inquired as to who charged Bevan, but he said that it was private and he could not divulge the information. I asked who the investigating officer was, and a sergeant governor stepped forward and spoke to me.
Thank you. Please proceed, Mr. Loftus.
I will deal in more detail with the call below. For present purposes, I submit that it proposes strong evidence that Naicker was behind the 2.5 million hit on Bevan's life. Okay, the incident of the 13th of December 2022. On Tuesday, the 13th of December 2022, I was at my home when I saw a number of policemen at Bevan's house. There must have been approximately 20 to 30 members, some in plain clothes, while others were in uniform, including the dog unit, the NIU, Vehicle Pound Unit, and Metro Police. I went outside and saw members of the police walking up my driveway. I took out my cell phone and started video recording them. There were 2 policemen outside Bevan's gate in civilian clothes. I jumped over the fence into Bevan's yard and approached them at the gate. One of the police officers, who later became known to me as Warrant Officer Clive Naicker, shouted at me not to record anything. I asked for Bevan's cell phone. He asked for Bevan's cell phone number and his whereabouts, which I did not know. He told me to open the remote control gate, which I could not do as I did not have the remote in my possession. He told a white captain from the NIU, which is the National Intervention Unit, to arrest and handcuff me. I was not informed of why I was being arrested. However, that could happen. However, before that could happen, I threw my cell phone to my son Nicholas. One of the policemen grabbed hold of my son Nicholas and choked him and took my cell phone from him. I asked the warrant officer.
Sorry. For clarity, you were not arrested eventually. You were arrested twice on later occasions.
I was arrested then. I think I'm still coming to that. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I asked the warrant officer Snyder why they were looking for Bevan. He told me that they were from the New Hawks anti-gang unit, and that they were there, and that there were 2 attempted murder cases from the police station against him. I inquired as to who charged Bevan, but he said that it was private and he could not divulge the information. I asked who the investigating officer was, and a sergeant governor stepped forward and spoke to me. In drugs were a cover-up by the police to justify hunting him and ultimately killing him. I now deal with the police harassment in the course of them hunting Bevan.
If I may just pause you there. You say you dispute these allegations. Do you still stand by that version?
Yes, let me just elaborate. When I said dispute these allegations, Bevan's been living at the premises next door to me from 2020, beginning of 2020. I can go on to say that as a father, I'm not with him all the time. I can comment on when I'm with him. I don't know what he does or what he did when he wasn't with me, but in my presence and while he was living at that premises, I did not see any evidence of any of the allegations.
Okay, please proceed.
Okay, the harassment and intimidation by the police began in 2022. But it is important that I set out the context which I believe is important and basis for the harassment. During 2022, both Bevan and myself received information that there was an assassination contract put on Bevan's life in the amount of 2.5 million. I also received information from a policeman I know that the hit on my son, Bevan, was genuine. The word was that I should be careful because if they cannot kill Bevan, they would kill my son, Nicholas, or myself. My son, Nicholas, was a ball taxi operator and had to cease operating because of the threat on his life and subsequently lost his income and the vehicle. Bevan and I were informed that Clive Naicker put up the 2.5 million contract to kill Bevan. On 23rd of January 2023, Bevan called Naicker, Clive, and confronted him in this regard. I have submitted a recording of that call to the Commission. A transcript of that call is attached as GL2.
Sir, before you proceed, can we then turn to GL2, which should be page 110?